Welcome back, friends.
Greetings.
Greetings. We are here again with Jessi and Rob from the Dreamerians game studio in Mexico. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves real quick?
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Well, I'm Jessi, studio manager at the Dreamerians. I'm also world builder, texturing, integration, modeling, all kind of stuff. And
I am Rob, studio director at the Dreamerians. And I am game designer, level designer, texture work here and there, animation, modeling, that kind of
shading.
Oh, yeah, shaders too.
Awesome. And obviously, there's more people working at the Dreamerians than just the two of you, right? You're a big,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a sizable studio by now. So let's talk to the other people.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, absolutely.
These guys, we're a team of 19 developers. There's Giovanni. Sculpting, Josue, programming.
He's been with us for ages. He's
As
7 years.
Almost at the time of the studio.
Javier,
Ale. It's
quarantine mode, all of us.
Yeah, of course. Like
that's
at home. That's Rob.
Awesome.
In the film, I recognize.
Oh, okay. Now that is.
And Rafa is animator, modeler. Rick, with
debugging a scorpion, it seems.
Yes. Andrea, modeling. Oh my God. And it's been really crazy working from home. That's David, also programming.
Yeah.
Oh, that should be me.
You can tell by the hair.
Yeah.
What tipped you off, right, Jen? Max animating as well.
Animating spider.
Yeah, Jessi doesn't like spiders. Matt doesn't like spiders either.
I don't like them either.
Julian.
They're scary.
Yeah, you really hate spiders, and they look quite realistic in the Rat's Quest actually. So
yeah, they're very scary. Yeah, I usually don't have any issues with like not like I can see spiders in games because I know they're programmed and they're predictable.
Yeah.
You know exactly they can't do anything unexpected. They're programmed in a certain way, but those do look scary. I'm a bit scared of them.
I think it's mostly the movement. They move quite realistically.
It's the movement, I think. It's quite realistic.
Yeah. And we actually made it so that you can't really tell unless we force it that way.
Yeah.
Where they're gonna be. So even sometimes, I don't know, for instance, I'm just like running over a segment of blocking out level design and there's a spider there and I fall into the
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be better now sometimes, but that's kind of the fun of it. So
I feel that as well.
Yeah.
But it's also a thing of scale.
Oh, it's definitely a thing of scale.
Yeah, probably.
Closer to.
Definitely, they seem so much larger because you're playing the game through the eyes of a rat, obviously. Yeah.
Exactly.
They're just these tiny little basement spiders. They're then whatever, but they seem so big.
Scary.
Yes, they really big spiders, and that's what we really like about the Rat's Quest. It's the perspective, the scale, the sensation of being such a small rat in a huge world. Like, for example, you as a human in a house, you can run like, I don't know, 13 steps and you're at the other side.
The other side, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and Matt have to do a lot of things to cross the entire house.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like sneaking to walls. I don't know if we said this during the last video, but a Rat's Quest is a hybrid between a 3D game and a 2D game. It's primarily 3D for sure, but it has certain 2D sections, both top down and lateral, so where you're like going inside a wall and like.
Yeah. Oh, and also what we're looking at some screenshots of the game, and you can see that Matt is this. It's like 15 centimeters around, and he's the commune where he lives in. It's a cellar in a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's
an abandoned cellar.
Abandoned cellar, so they can like go for little pieces of cheese, for example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. The scale makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Like on a human size.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's really interesting. I remember this. I remember the first time the scene where you drop into the hallway of the main house for the first time, and you just experience the scale of this huge hallway. It's just a normal hallway in a normal house, you know.
Yeah.
It's nothing special, but it's really well.
It puts
well
everything
off,
into perspective.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And just like beyond the visual, it's also like the mechanic way of looking at it and playing at it as a rat, right? Because he is like proportionally faster than I am,
Mm-hmm.
way faster. So that's when he stops being like a tiny human, and he's actually a rat that has a tail and that can climb up stuff and jump from this to this and extrusions to the wall and just like go really fast. So it kind of compensates. Yes, it's super big, but he is a rat, and you have to play like a rat as well.
Yeah, and actually what is cool about this is that, for example, Matt as a rat, he have this inherent rat behavior, like hugging to the wall and being sneaky and stealthy. And also, the player is like, okay, I know where things are. For example, if Matt needs a nail, for example, Matt is like, well, this is a human house. I have no idea because I'm not a human. Yeah. But the player should know that, okay, toolbox, maybe, there's a toolbox, there's a nail around, or they're fixing anything. Maybe I can find some tools around it.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah. So it's pretty much like the player and Matt like becoming accomplices in a way, right? Because the player knows the human concepts and the context, and but the rat can go into little holes and just like sneak around and crevices and that kind of stuff. So
that's brilliant.
And that perspective really changes as well when you move into these, as you said earlier, these 2D sections where you're in the wall or under the floorboards. That really is Matt's domain. As a human, I have no business being there. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the wall of my house. I have no idea.
I don't want to know.
What is going on?
I mean, I have a rough idea. Like, okay, there's some cables going through the walls and stuff like that.
I don't want to know. I'm just gonna be paranoid.
Yeah. No, that's
maybe
really
that could be a love story. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Finding that balance of the player obviously always being a human, and but perceiving this world through the eyes of a rat. It's very
absolutely.
Yeah, it's very special.
Yeah.
Really like you think that.
Actually, we're not just gonna be at the cellar and the house, but Matt will also be able to be on the outside, which is, if the house was huge, the outside is like this humongous thing, and very different of what he's like used to.
Yeah, the kind of terrain, like the orthogonal walls and floors and that kind of thing. It just gets rough, and stones and uphills and downhills and rivers and that thing is. It's not just bigger; it's different, and that's the whole thing that's going like the middle section of the game. Yeah. There's a section when you climb up a garage towards somewhere else, which I'm not going to say exactly where it is. And you just like look into yonder, and again, it's not that big if you were walking it. Like having a picnic there. Yeah. But it does look big. Yeah, definitely. From his eyes. For sure.
Also, something that we might want to talk about a little bit is although Matt is a rat, obviously he behaves like a rat. He not always entirely behaves like a rat, right? There are situations where he will use tools, and as you said earlier, he's looking for a nail, for example, to use. So there's kind of a balance going on between rat-like and human-like behavior, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, that's one of the things that I don't know if we said before. Matt speaks.
Yes.
That's a very important thing. He's endowed with self-conscious and feelings, and just can carry out a conversation. That's that's a big thing.
Yeah, he speaks a lot. And
he speaks
he's also as Daniel is saying on the chat, he's in love with someone. He's in love with this pet mouse called Nat.
Yeah.
So there's a story there. Like,
oh, definitely.
They get separated. Matt is like, oh my god, I have to go back to her, but also to his best friend Toby, who's waiting for him to. So there's a lot of story between characters, and also within the world. It's not like it's not a rat simulator, definitely.
No. Right.
Not like, yeah, you're a rat, go. It's really, really cool in sense of story and world building, discovering characters too.
And as you were saying, the human qualities of Matt, I mean, beyond the mechanical, which we can definitely talk about, it's the reason why Matt and Nat get separated is because of a mistake that Matt did. I mean, that says something about the complexity of the potential complexity about the character. He messed up, and there's a moment of reflection. So he's very human in that way, like beyond the big ears and the tail and the fur. There's a complexity to him. And mechanically, it's biped and on all fours, switching between those two modes in a way throughout the entire game.
And
for sure.
Using his tail,
using his tail.
I mean, human can't use his tail. But rats will.
Yeah.
Rats will, for sure. Right. Talking about the tools that he will use, I think we got a small video that you sent us of the more the more technical side of the game creation process. So we'll have a quick look at that, and you can kind of explain to us what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. So it's it's a halberd that's being created, I think. So how does that work? Like, how do you approach this?
It's a kind of halberd. I mean, from here on, we already know which character is going to be wielding said halberd. So pretty much what we say is, okay, what's his or her domain? We know that he is in a room where the person that lives there likes to draw and all that kind of stuff, right? And we know that the person in the room is a girl. So we pretty much draw from the fiction that it's already there from the human perspective and say, okay, so the hooky bit of a nail clipper, and then maybe this pencil, and it's attached. And okay, so we need to say that the character is very creative and the ingenuity of it all. So he or she would have done this in order to get this halberd thing going, and maybe scotch tape and rubber bands. So even if it's just like, okay, this character is going to hit something else with this, we try to imbue the world storytelling and what's going on around into every single tiny asset,
Yeah, because it was also a possibility for the rats and the mouse to create tools for their own, but it didn't match our perspective of the world and how do they minds work. So they basically now using human tools to resolve anything they need.
Exactly. So the rivet. I mean, it's a literal rivet, and if you see the silhouette of a rivet, it's a sword. So that's Matt's weapon. This is someone else's tool.
Yeah.
But
this is
the same pattern.
Something that we've seen a lot, and he's using a bent spoon as a cooking plate, I think, in his home and stuff like that. So that's really creative, and I really like that idea.
It's really fun to design as well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, you should see the brainstorm sessions. They're crazy.
Sometimes it's okay, what do I have on my desk?
If I do this.
Okay, if I do this, let's go for it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That's really creative. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. That's very good. And the next part, concerning technology that you're using, obviously all of these animals need to be animated, right? They're moving around, not only the animals, but mostly the animals, also obviously some parts of the environment as well. But how do you approach this? How does that work? Because obviously you can't just squeeze a rat into a mocap suit and that's not an option, right? So
once we thought about mocap a cat, but it isn't possible to. But right now, what we're doing, it's capturing phone, basically, like people acting the reactions of the character. Rob, haven't seen this video. But yes,
it is.
Then, yes. Then we have block out in Maya and then in Unity. And we also have mocap for facial features.
That's what we're integrating right now. Just like to be able to get it as natural as possible. But yeah, the steps before this, what Jessi was saying, it starts with a high concept of a scene, or just like a tiny, like a snippet of a scene, and then we go straight to video reference, and then we start the block-out process. So it's easier to gauge if something's working or not when the person that's doing the video reference is already moving around and just like drafting out an angle or like an intention in a way.
Yeah.
Timing as well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It has been working pretty.
It has been working, yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great already. Obviously, what you've seen here right now is very much a work in progress. This is not the final look of the game at all, but you've seen kind of the gist of where the animations are coming from and where they're going, and that really seems to be working well. So, yeah, it's super interesting where technology has gotten us. It's being able to just take your phone, record somebody speaking, and then transfer that to a face of a rat. It's
amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah,
Crazy.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
That's wonderful.
It also, there's so much characters in a Rat's Quest, and this is not the only approach we're taking towards animation production. We can make in-engine tools, for example, to help us with it.
Yeah, actually, in-engine tools and just like figuring out a way to design that is very iteration friendly and adapt to the way that the game wants to be, in a way. So we have this in-engine mocap of AI agents, so they move around and we can record what they did. For instance, a spider creeping up on either one of us. And we say, I love the way it creeped out there, so let's just bake and record that. So that's another way of virtual mocap in a way. So we're also using that, and that's helping us speed things up here and there, iterate.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a little bit yesterday, but some of the people may have missed it. Why did you go for a rat as your main character?
Okay. Well, story side, Rob was in the traffic with his cousin. And the idea came about, what if we do a game about futuristic motorcycles that hooks to a pipe and then a wall and can turn. And Rob was like, a rat, and everything exploded. So when they arrived home, the story of the game was written, and
it was a lot of traffic.
Mechanics.
There was a lot of traffic, yeah.
Traffic in Mexico City. It's
just everyone's the kind of thing. But yeah, it did start from something very mechanical, like running up and switching the sides of a pipe and running down and jumping downward, I think.
2D.
Yeah, it was definitely 2D. So the idea stayed with us for years, that we were doing other stuff and just other projects, learning about the team and the chemistry and how to do games. And we pretty much realized after a long while that what we wanted was not the pipe per se, but the feeling of being able to traverse space in a different way. And it just makes sense to go 3D. And now you can climb up extrusions and jump towards a pipe. Yeah, the pipe's still there. And you can do this and the other and climb and just like clamber and stuff and that kind of thing. And it's like the soul of the pipe became that in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the reason why it kind of made sense to go for the whole rat thing. It was the concept and the context of just like, hey, we got to put scale there.
Yeah, and also the wonder for this like acrobatic and agile feeling we wanted to make for the game.
Yeah.
So, but we really said very early, but not with you. Remember?
No,
like,
not with humans.
Not with humans.
Yeah.
It's either bigger or smaller.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so having talked about the whole process of the animation and coming up with the story, I would like to know which part of development has been your favorite? Like, is it the part where you just come up with your story and you're brainstorming about possible quests and things to do in the world? Or is it like seeing the game come together through code and animation? What has been your favorite part so far?
Okay, I would say like from my personal perspective, there's a moment when the idea comes from a very designy way, you know, like, hey, this is gonna be my goal and I'm gonna block these things out and here's a blah, here's a blah. And then there's this other manner of approaching it when you have like a story, like a very short story. There's a key, but you don't know where the key is, and the door, and it's rusty, and then. But my favorite moment is when those two things meet in a very like overlapping way and say, oh, they're feeding off one another a lot right now. That moment, like when it clicks, it just like goosebumps all over it. I love that moment.
And for me, sometimes the things you design when you transfer that to programming or to in-engine things, it doesn't make sense anymore. And that's for me the best moments because they really asking for the entire of our creativity. Like, okay, you have this, you have to solve it. 1, 2, 3, go. All creativity full in all different areas. Not just like, okay, we can solve this way, but from perspective, from the animation perspective or the programming perspective or modeling. That's for me the best of making a Rat's Quest.
Yeah, when everybody's pitching in, if it's a programming design or a graphics design, it doesn't matter. Everybody's pitching in. It really feels good. Like, hey, we could. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, the teamwork as well. Huh?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
Something that I've been meaning to ask is you sent us this old concept art of this cartoony looking rat. I really like it, by the way. It has a very nice charm to it. But how did you get from that sort of look to the? I mean, apart from the rat's like almost human-like behavior at times, visually, a Rat's Quest looks very realistic, right? The environments and the animals themselves. How did you end up there? What was the process there?
Okay, so when that draft came on, we weren't who we are right now as developers.
That's important.
So we started to finding our own style, the way the studio speaks. Like, okay, we like more realistic approaches. We like more looking for the gritties, not just like the beauty and everything is really polished. Yes. We really love this dirty and
aged in a way. I mean, that has a story. We made a bucket in Maya and Substance Painter, like trying to find the style, and we just went, you know, like, let's not do any style. Let's just make this the way that it flows from within. Like, and what's the color palette going to be? The one you're feeling. And is it going to be rusty? If you're feeling it. And then we started like bouncing the file off each other, and we ended up with this thing that we say, okay, this is inherent to the way that we can say this book is old and it's probably in the bottom of a well and it's this and the other, and we felt it very natural. So in a way, this is the way it's flowing from us much more than the initial concepts, which were for a very small mobile game with a very say curated visual style in a way.
Yeah, and also, I mean, that concept you showed
So
has. Okay, you're gonna laugh.
I did like
More than 8 years ago. It's
That
really
is a-
old.
That is a
Right.
very old
No,
concept.
I know
yeah.
I'm right.
That is
Yeah,
a
it's
very old
really,
concept.
really
so,
old.
so
It's amazing.
back of the
how
head
far it
kind
has
of thing.
come.
a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean,
it's-
the entire Rat's Quest idea was in the drawer,
Oh yeah.
like, very, like 4 years maybe before we
As
started.
much as it needed to be, yeah.
Yeah. Until we said, like, okay, we're ready enough, mature enough as developers, as designers. 1, 2, 3, go.
yeah, awesome. It's come a very long way for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks
Amazing.
amazing,
Yeah.
and I can't wait. I can't wait to share a lot of content with everybody out there.
Yeah.
People are very excited. I think I'm very excited. That's
As
for
am
sure.
I.
We're too weird.
We're too.
Of course. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
gonna be great. I'm sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
No,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
It's been
This was
wonderful
really
talking
fun.
to you. If you've got anything else that you wanna tell the people out there, now's your time.
Sure. First, we're on Discord, so be sure to go there and tell us what do you want to know about the game. You can ask questions. You can tell us you like it, you're not liking it. You like the old or the new approach?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. We're gonna be there.
Feedback is always welcome. Yeah, definitely.
And for everybody and anybody that could be interested in the game, thank you, and just know that it's coming from the heart, definitely, and we really hope you guys enjoy when it's done.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Meanwhile, you can already wishlist the game on Steam if you like, and stay updated with the process. And yeah, awesome. Thank you guys so much, and
Thank you.
we'll talk to you again soon. Okay. Have
Absolutely,
a wonderful
absolutely.
weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.